Hi, Kevin Henry with Proofs Magazine, here today on a Skype interview with Nancy Drew, who's a sales and private practice strategist based in the San Diego area. So, hi Nancy, thanks for joining me today.
Hi, Kevin. Great to see you.
Whenever Nancy and I talked last, she said that she had been developing a process where salespeople could have a little more value add for their customers whenever they go in to visit with them. And so I thought it'd be great to just have Nancy kind of explain some of the things that she's found. So Nancy, would you share that with our Proofs audience?
I'm excited to do so. Thank you.
Sure.
What we get a lot is we work a very unique situation. A lot of our clients are sales organizations and they want sales systems. How do we close? How do we track? How do we automate? How do we be more effective? And then we have private practice and dental and surgeons, and so different scale, and they're saying, how do I make my practice more effective? How do I, embrace my clients to be, or my staff to be more successful in what they're doing? Where do I get help to be more successful? I mean, things are tight. There's a lot of competition. And so there is a opportunity for both sides to work better together, and I have seen a few reps that, step up, and they're more like a consultant. They're more like an expert. They are really bringing value to the practice, and the practice sees them as not a rep for another company. They see them as a go-to expert for themselves. And really, that's what we all want. We want to have those relationships. So I thought that there was a lot of value to point out how you can develop those relationships. We want them, but how do we get there?
How would you say that a rep best earns the trust of a doctor or a team member?
Well, what we see is, it's not instant. This is not the microwave oven. We just can't get the instant result. And what we see, because we do a lot of training, spend thousands of reps, the majority of people give up right away, or they give up after the second call, or, they don't want to be a nuisance, or they don't want to be aggressive, or whatever the reason is. It takes about 7 contacts to build that trust in this industry. We've tracked it. That's what it is. But most people don't get there. It also, you need to stop trying to sell. When you need to sell something, you can feel it miles away. Nobody wants to talk to you. If that's what's on your mind, then you're going to be turning people off because you approach things at a completely different place than if you were there to delight your prospect, your customer, whoever, the practice. Even if you're not in, in a dental medical scenario, this is sales 101 for anyone. Nobody comes to work and says, boy, I hope I get a cold call and someone sells me today. No one wants to be closed. They do want someone that's going to help them make it easier, save them some money, show them something new that they don't know that'll be helpful. We want that. We want valuable relationships, but the trust is going down faster and faster and faster because we get 60,000 messages a day. I don't know if you know that, but the brain picks up 60,000 messages. So as it's getting harder to close deals, and we're desensitizing. So that email marketing is desensitizing. Your flyer is desensitizing. All of these things, we're weeding them out. But how do we access that relationship when people are turning off because they're so overwhelmed? And that's what we're going to take a look at.
Okay. Would you say that trying to push a sale is maybe the most common mistake that you see salespeople trying to make today?
Absolutely. And nobody is going to be forced into doing something that they don't like. Now, all things being equal, people like to do business with people they like. All things not being so equal, Simplify is a little bit more expensive, but I have the relationship and people trust me. They know what they're going to get with me. They'll still do work with me. Yeah, and that, and I'm not being boisterous of myself. It could be anyone. Trust and results are worth a lot.
And that actually leads into the last question I was going to ask you is so many times I hear reps say that, the dentist is only interested in price. So how does a rep get out of the mentality of just selling them the cheapest thing possible and maybe trying to introduce them to something that is maybe a little more expensive but obviously could benefit the practice more?
Mm-hmm. Well, if people are looking right at price, you don't have the relationship A. So don't even try to sell until you have to, form some sort of relationship, because you're just going to be, the door is going to be closed on you, and you're always going to be regarded as a commodity. Now, one of the best examples for sales in my mind is Zappos. And, this is one of the things that I recommend that salespeople do, and practices do this as well. We all can learn. Don't look at what your neighbor is doing well. Be aware of what they do, but that's not the way that you need to do it like everyone else does it. Look at Zappos. Zappos in 10 years went from zero revenue to $1 billion of revenue. Now, their focus is not get more money, get more money, get more money. Their focus is delight their customer. As of a result of delighting their customer, they obviously had tremendous growth. It's things that Zappos would do, for example, if I don't know if you've ever interacted with them, Kevin, but
I have actually.
They have a 365-day refund guarantee. They will upgrade your purchase, for no reason. You've purchased and suddenly you've got this expedited delivery. They will send flowers. Some guy found a pizza. Wrong place, obviously, but the pizza arrived, and it's all about delighting your customer. And that's something that we really have spent a lot of time on, and believe it or not, is how do we delight our customers? How do we delight them from the side of a practice? How do we delight our practice clients who we want as clients? How do we delight them so they stop looking at us like a dollar sign? Absolutely. And comparing us to the other dollar sign? Mm-hmm. You're right. And the best way to do that is look at companies that excel in the customer satisfaction area. So, for example, one of the things that we do is we say to the, sales and practice is take a blank sheet of paper and put three columns in there. And on the first column, you can put what my customer wants. And the second column, me, what can I do? And in the third column, what's uncontrollable or looks uncontrollable right now? Now, I'm Zappos. I am not selling pizza, but somehow a pizza arrives. So when we start to think about not our product, not our service, not what we're peddling today, but really, if I was at practice, what are the things that I want? Well, I want the calls to be converted into treatment plans. I want these people in the door. I want to make sure that that I'm paying the lowest cost for things, that I have high profitability, that I'm getting good referral business. What are things that maybe not my control as a sales rep because I'm selling whitener or silver or whatever it is, tools, but what is it that the client wants? And when we start focusing in on what it is all about them, then we can look at and say, well, what is it that I can really control? If I was a Zappos, could I help them with more profitability? Well, you can probably start being a person that provides value. And this is what we're trying to do is, yes, I'm trying to get the sale, but I will only be a client of my customer if they're doing well. So I need to make sure that they are doing well, okay. Give to get. And so what can I do? What kinds of things are they struggling with? Well, maybe I can invite them to, to see a speaker, on practice management. Maybe I can drop off, some case studies on someone very similar to them and different things that they did. Maybe it links in with my business, but it doesn't necessarily always have to. Gotcha. Things that you are starting to provide value, and it's not always what's in it for me, what's in it for me, what's in it for me, because as you're providing value and you're having that exchange, as soon as you start to sell, your client turns off. Yeah, but we do need to sell. But we don't want to be blatantly pushing down the throat of, I need this deal, I need this deal, I need this deal. We need to provide value, but also get our message across. Typically that blend is an 80-20. People will not turn off from you and your message as long as they see it as valuable. So they'll take 80% of valuable content, 20% blatant promotion.
Great advice. Good advice all the way around. Thanks so much. Tell our viewers where they can get in touch with you if they want more information or want to have some training from you.
Absolutely. We do a 20-minute strategy session, and that goes into what can I provide, should I be doing cold calls? If I'm doing cold calls, are they better than a drop-in call? How do I get people to actually see me in a drop-in call? What kind of valuable things can I do? How do I make sure I'm staying different from the competition? Just all kinds of things. How do I convert the call-ins to sales? Everything. So there's a 20-minute strategy session, and you can get hold of us for that absolutely free at Drew and Associates, which is our website, Drew, D-R-E-W, and the word and Associates. So if you want to contact us, that's info@Drew and Associates. But one of the things that we're really popular for is our YouTube channel, and we have 2-minute videos, tons of them. Tons of these videos, and they're 2 minutes. They go out every week. So if you can just subscribe to, excuse me, to getting on that video, and every week there's these videos that come out for 2 minutes. Here's how you ramp up your sales. Here's how you deal with angry customers. Here's how you do this. You do this. Here's planning techniques, and they go for really well. So sometimes all we need is that little inspiration.
That's great. Very, very cool, and a great resource. Love the YouTube channel, and something our viewers should definitely check out. So, well, Nancy, thanks so much for your time. It's great seeing you again, and we'll look forward to speaking with you again in the future.
Thanks, Kevin. It's great to be here.
Take care.